Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Tonight I'm going to bring you an old school favorite. I was going to bring it to you last night, but I ended up eating it all up. So tonight I'm going to make two of them. But I guarantee you, this is the best old school pie recipe you're going to ever get. And even though it's not a lot of ingredients, you're going to love this pie. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Now, I know that a lot of my recipes have been tried and tested, and a lot of you trust me when it comes to recipes. But when I tell you this one is really, really a good one, this is about the best old school pie you will ever make, and it goes back at least 70, 80 years, but it's really, really a great recipe. We're going to be making a sugar cream pie. This is real simple, real easy. We're not going to use any flour. We're not going to use any eggs. But I guarantee you, once you taste this pie, you will fall in love with it. It's only one tricky step in it, and I'm going to walk you through that. So let's get started with the ingredients. First, you're going to need a pie shell. What I would suggest is that you take your oven, put it on 325 degrees, and then you take this pie shell and you cook it for 10 to 12 minutes. That's if you're going to use a ready-made pie shell, which is exactly what I have. Now, if you want to use a pie shell that you want to bake, go ahead and do that. I'm not stopping you from doing that. But cook it for 10 to 12 minutes inside your stove before you put your filling in. Then you're going to need sugar, cornstarch, whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, vanilla extract, butter, and cinnamon. And you're going to also need a little cinnamon sugar to go on the top. Now, I can tell you about that because the ratio for cinnamon sugar is going to be 2 parts to 1 part. So that's 1 part cinnamon to 2 parts of sugar. And you just mix it together and you have your cinnamon sugar. So let me go away, get all my ingredients together, put my pie shells in the oven so that they can bake off, and I'll be right back to show you how to put together this quick pie. But I guarantee you, once you try it, you're going to fall in love with it. Be right back. Okay, now I'm back and my pie shells have already baked off, and all I have to do is make my filling. So I'm going to go ahead and mix together my sugar. Now remember, you will not have as many ingredients as I have. I'm going to, well, the amount of the ingredients will be the same, but the amount that we use will be different, and that's only because I'm making 2 pies. I'm going to add to my sugar, I'm going to add my cornstarch. Okay, now I'm going to blend this up kind of well together. You want to mix it together. I'm going to bake this off in the 325 degree oven for roughly 25 to 30 minutes. No longer than 30 minutes. It's still going to be shaky when you get it out, but then I want you to let it sit for 2 hours before you cut it. Why am I letting it sit, Chris? You're letting it sit because you need it to mold together. If you cut a pie and it's not set yet, it will fall apart on you. So you don't want that to happen. So you're going to let it sit for about 2 hours, and then you're going to cut it. And I'll show you every bit of that. Now, once you mix together your cornstarch and your flour, then you're going to add your liquid ingredients. And I know what you're probably thinking, how are you going to make a pie and you're not going to put any eggs in it, and you're not going to put any flour in it? How in the world can that pie be good? Trust me on this, okay? You trusted my cooking before, and it's came out just like I said it was going to come out. Trust me on this. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this pie, and this pie is excellent. I sat up here last night, baked the pie, ate some of the pie, wanted to eat it all, went upstairs, came back down this morning, there was no pie left. Okay, pie was gone. So, I said that I would make one for my son-in-law because he's a lover of anything that I prepare. Bless his heart. So I'm making one for him And I'm going to make one for my family as well. Okay. Now these little pint containers here, they only hold 2 cups. Okay. And we needed a little bit more than 2 cups. You know me, I don't believe in throwing away nothing. So if I leave a drop in there, I want to get it out. Okay. So the only thing I'm going to do is blend this up. Now here's the tricky part to this pie. When I get through mixing this up, we're going to take it to the stove and we're going to cook this on a very, very low heat. Because you do not want to scorch it. You do not want it to stick. You don't want that. Because that cornstarch will stick. And if it sticks, your pie is going to be messy. So you're going to have to sit there with it. Now, it's only going to take this about 4 or 5 minutes in order for it to thicken up as thick as you need it. And then you put it in your pie shells, put it in the oven, allow it to cook for 25-30 minutes, and this pie is ready. But I guarantee you, if you put this on your holiday table, or if you put it on any table, it's going to be the first thing to go. This is an extremely good pie. It's rich in flavor. You can taste it. But people will ask you, how in the heck were you able to do that? So back in the day, people didn't have a lot of money. They had large families and they wanted to feed their large families, but they didn't have a lot of money to spend on getting extra food. So if they didn't grow it, pick it, and like your peaches and different fruits that you may have had, and make a sweet pie or something, they had to make it out of what they had in their cabinets or in their refrigerators for those that had refrigerators. And normally that was a little bit of nothing. That's why you can see this pie is a little bit of nothing, but this pie is very good. And normally old school cooks, you hear a lot of people say old school cooks can make a meal out of nothing. Well, that's exactly what this is. This is a dessert out of nothing. Because I guarantee you probably all of the ingredients, with the exception of the whipping cream, you probably had it in your kitchen. Because you use it for other things. Now, I'm melting my butter. Because I have to put the butter in here and I have to put the flavor in here. But I'll put that in at the stove and I'll show you. Now the only part that's real tricky, we're getting ready to do it right now. And that's going to be to take it to the stove and just stir it until this thickens up. When it thickens up, we pour it in the pie shell. And that's it. It's done. But I guarantee you, you will enjoy this one. This is the best recipe to be nothing that you're going to run across. Now, if you can see, this is a little bit thick. It's just a little bit thick. It's not as thick as it should be. It's just a little bit thick. And it's about as thick as you're going to get it, you know, without cooking it. Okay? But it does not, if you know when you put cornstarch in a dish, it does not take long for that cornstarch to actually thicken up. Well, that's the same thing with this. So, this is already mixed. I'm going to put this in a pan or a pot. I'll meet you at my stove. Okay, now I'm at the stove, and as you can see, my butter has melted. So now I'm going to add my mixture in. And I'm on an electric stove, and this electric stove is one of these newer kind of stoves. And what they did with it is, your heat comes on, stays on for a little while, and then it goes off. And that, when it goes off, that's supposed to be enough heat to cook whatever it is that you're cooking until it comes back on again. It only stays off for X amount of minutes, and then it comes, not minutes, but seconds, and then it comes back on. But because of this particular mixture, when the heat comes on, I remove my pan from the heat, from the actual elements, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. And then when it goes off, then I put it back on and stir it, because what you don't want to do, you do not want to scorch or burn this mixture. Okay, now see, my heat element is coming on, so I'll remove it, keep on stirring. See, when it goes off, Then I put it back. That way I can be assured that I am not going to burn or scorch the bottom of this. Because if you do that, it's not going to taste right. So I don't want to do that. So I've already put in my butter. My last ingredient is going to be my flavor. So you put that in on the heat. And then I just stir. So this would, on a regular gas stove, this would probably take 5 minutes. On my stove, probably going to take me about 8 minutes. But that's no worries. I'm not going to keep you here for 8 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead, take it off and put it back on. And then once it gets cooked, then I will bring it back, pour it up, put it in the oven, and we'll be fine. I want you to look at this, though, before you go. Okay, that is the cinnamon. Remember I told you the cinnamon sugar? I told you that the cinnamon sugar is 1 part cinnamon to 2 parts of sugar. What that actually means is whatever you put in the cinnamon, if you're using a teaspoon and you put a teaspoon of cinnamon in there, then you got to put in 2 teaspoons of sugar. That's what it means. Whatever you put in for one of your cinnamons, put in that times 2 for your sugar. That's all you do. So I'm going to stir this, and you need butter because you got to put butter on the top, and I've melted a little bit of butter right there. So the only thing I have to do is just put that on the top once I get this done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wait here and stir this. And once it thickens up, I'll bring it back and I'll show you what it looks like. It'll be about 8 minutes on my stove, 5 minutes on yours if you're using a gas stove. So I'll be right back. Okay, now I want you to look at this. Okay, I've sat here and it's been about 12, 13 minutes. That's because of the tight stove that I'm using. But this is the consistency that you want. Okay, and if you stir it, the hotter it gets, the thicker it's going to get. Okay, so now what you're going to do, and you definitely do not want to burn this or scorch it. So now you're going to put it in your pie shell. Now look at the bottom. I want you to look at the bottom of my pan. See, I did not scorch it. I did not burn it. You have to sit on top of this one. I don't want to keep on putting no pie filling in there either. And then it flips over, but I don't want it to spill out of the pan. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your butter, your melted butter, and you're going to drizzle it over the top. Now you can kind of touch it with it. Wait a minute, and then kind of touch it to make sure that you get all of your butter down on your pie. If you pull a little bit up, that's okay. Okay, then the cinnamon and the sugar that you made, doing this with my opposite hand, and this ain't working for me. You want to put this cinnamon all over the top of your pie. Okay. Now, you're going to put this pie in your oven, 325 degrees, and you're going to put it in there for roughly 25 to 30 minutes. So when this gets done, I'll bring you right back and show you what it looks like. Be right back. All right, now I'm back and the pies are ready. So I'm going to take them out. And I want you to see how it jiggles. That's fine, because it has to sit for an hour and a half, and it's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with cornstarch. You don't have anything other than cornstarch and sugar in the pie, along with the the butter and of course the whipping cream, but you have nothing to really stabilize it. So let it go ahead and do that. That's fine. That's why you give it an hour and a half to cool, because once it cools down, you will be able to cut it. You don't want to cut it right now because it has not set. And what it'll do, if you cut it, it'll just mess up. So you want to give it at least an hour and a half to cut it. So I'll come back and I'll cut this in front of you and show you what it looks like. But that's the way you make your sugar cream pie. And I'm telling you, if I've never told you anything else that's more truthful, this is the best pie you're ever going to eat. It's so rich and so creamy and so good. So I'll bring you back once it cools. Be back. Okay, now we're back and the pie has cooled. And as you can see, I've already taken a piece out of it, but I want you to look. No eggs, no flour. But see how good that pie stood up? All you got to do is make sure that this pie cools. It needs that hour and a half, maybe even a little bit longer, in order to cool. So let me just cut a slice. And I don't really want to cut a big slice because I sat there and, last night I outdid myself. So I don't want to do that again. And the pie shell, I bought it from the store, so you know it's really not the greatest, but there it is. Okay, there it is. That pie came out perfect. Yours will do the same thing. You know, if you follow my instructions, you're gonna get the same results that I get. And I want to tell you, I've made the butter roll, I've made the chess pie, I've made so many old school pies, but this one really takes the cake. And you probably have everything that you need in order to make this pie in your house. I'm telling you, last night we killed it. Now we got two. Sending one to my son-in-law, and I'm going to keep the other. Okay, that's what Chris is doing for you today. I'm going to try to get in a couple of more recipes and try to get in some cookies before Christmas. So put this on your Christmas table. I guarantee you that you're going to get plenty of raves about it. And as always, thank you for watching Chris Cook for You Too. Happy holidays.